How's it going, bros? It's your boy StevieRay coming to you live. You know where we're at. We're in the backyard. We're gonna do another project, and today's project we are gonna be building a chicken coop for this little guy right here. And so this is a silky chicken. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna show you a how-to on how to build a chicken coop. We're gonna build a 8-foot run and a coop itself. And so we hope you enjoy. Okay, so here are the tools you're gonna need. We got a drill, a hammer, a square, a stapler, a jigsaw or something to cut with, a sander. We also got some hardware. We got a handle, we got some locks, some latches, some screws. And then finally, you're gonna need your chicken mesh. All of this you could get at your local hardware store. We ended up going to a Home Depot. What we're doing here is we're laying down our 8-foot beams, and now I'm gonna go ahead and cut a 4-foot beam for the bottom, for the width of the actual coop. And for the wood, we ended up buying about 16 8-foot 2x1s. It's easier if you have a lot of space, so do this outside, somewhere where you have a flat surface, that way everything's squared. So now all we're doing is we're screwing everything together for the bottom base. So once you got the base together, you can go ahead and kind of measure out how tall you want your actual coop to be. Here we're cutting it at 6 feet. That way we have enough space to walk in there and do what we gotta do. If we gotta clean or if we gotta feed the chickens. Now we cut 4 of our 8-footers at 6 feet and we're just putting them into the corners. So for the top of the frame, we're just gonna mimic the base, 4 foot by 8 foot. We're gonna go ahead and screw those in to the 6-foot standing poles. It also helps if you have 2 people. What we're doing here is marking where we're actually gonna build the coop inside the run. So we cut 3 more 6-footers, putting 1 on each side of the coop and then 1 where the door is gonna go. So you know it's hot in Texas, so once you're done with the actual frame, go ahead and move to a shaded area where you can work a little bit easier. Now what we're doing is building the actual frame of the coop that's going to sit inside of the run. We ended up doing it 4x2. So we're building the base for the floor of the coop. Now what I'm doing is just measuring the frame for the door. It's gonna be 6 foot tall, of course, by 2, minus a couple of inches, just to give it some slack, so that way it'll go ahead and close a little bit easier. We had some spare pallets, and so basically for the floor, I just broke them apart. We're gonna use that wood. I'm cutting a notch here for each end of the coop so it fits flush. Well, look at that perfect fit. So once you got the floorboards all lined up, go ahead and nail them in. After you've measured your door, go ahead and put it all together. I'm just building the frame of the door. And I'm putting a center beam across the door where I want my handle to sit so it's comfortable to open. So my wife is gonna go ahead and nail down the floorboards to the base of the coop. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just cut off the excess of what's hanging off the base of the coop. Since we're using pallets and there's a lot of splinters and stray pieces of wood, I'm gonna go ahead and use 220 grit sandpaper just to kind of clean that up a little bit. Once your door is ready to be installed, go ahead and install your hinges. I'm using 2 hinges for this door. You can use 3 if you'd like. 3 might be a little bit better, but we figured just 2 would be enough for what we need. Now my wife is going to go ahead and start running the chicken wire all around the coop, and using the stapler, she's going to mount it onto the frame. So what I'm doing in the background here as Adriana is putting up the wire is I'm cutting the pallet boards to 2 feet, and I'm going to use that as the walls of the chicken coop. Okay, so it's day 2 right now. We ran out of time yesterday, and so I just want to show you what we have currently. Here I'm just using some pallet boards aesthetically to cover the actual border of the coop where I put the 2-foot long pallet boards. You can see what I'm doing right here. So when you're cutting the actual chicken wire, go ahead and try to cut as close as you can to the staples to avoid any pointy wires. Last thing you want to do is cut your finger or get your clothes snagged. Adriana's going to show you right here. You don't want anything hanging over, so just push it over to the side. So we ended up buying 3 sheets of plywood. It ended up being a lot easier to mount in the front. Aesthetically pleasing, of course. We cut a hole big enough for the chickens to go through. Here I'm getting another piece of plywood. I'm just cutting some notches in so that way it'll fit flush. This is going to be for the roof. Now I'm cutting one of the 2x1s at 4 feet so we could run it across the actual roof and give it a little bit more support. Went ahead and screwed that in, and now we could lay the roof on. So here we ended up having a piece of the pallet that we cut. It ended up working out for the stairs, so we're gonna go ahead and use that. Now I'm just installing the actual roof. We ended up not giving it a tilt just because we figured it wasn't big enough to actually require one. So this is it, the finished product. Just doing a little walk around. Looking good. Gonna take you to the back. We ended up building a small latch door so we can gather eggs or if we need to pick up one of the chickens. All right, guys, I hope you liked that video. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one, baby. StevieRay signing out.